Assalamualaikum. So in this video, we are going to present about the social interaction, the influence of social interaction on mental health among students. So we go to the background of the study. So actually the pandemic and lockout of COVID-19 has triggered a sense of panic and anxiety across the globe. So this pattern actually has contributed to psychosocial and mental health effect for children and adolescents in the short term as well as in the long term. So in Malaysia, a next wave of mental health issues could be triggered through the movement control order, which is MCO, when more severe psychological symptoms occur and the frequency become more persistent. So in Malaysia, when a few universities have suspended face-to-face learning and moved to the web-based educating, the existence of universities students have changed significantly. So actually during coronavirus, being sound genuinely and can advance efficiency, particularly among students, as the university set to keep address online until the year's end. So there is an expanded focus on the difficulty looked by the student. So physical distancing present difficulties to the psychological well-being and prosperity of undergrads to battle the spread of the COVID-19. Okay, next, we are going to look at the findings of a survey of respondents who face mental health problem in Malaysia as of June 2019 by demography. So in this analysis, actually the respondent who was 18 until 24 years of age was more knowledgeable in mental health compared to the other age people. So it is because one of the studies found that although new skills are built to sustain relationship, individuality, and self-sufficiency, there is no limit for them. So the second graph, the results likewise demonstrate 13% respondents who earn 7,000 ringgit or more were bound to have experienced psychological wellness issues than the individual who acquired 6% or 3,000 ringgit or more. So next we go to the problem statement. So mental health disorders are very popular among college students. In this context, many college students have a problem with their mental well-being and drug use or worsen their symptom. So statistics actually have shown a worsening state of mental health issues among Malaysian students, showing the mental health cases have increased from 2011 until 2016. So with an increasing awareness of student mental health issues and more psychotropic therapies, the number of young people with mental health disorder has risen significantly. So, according to the study from 274 institutions, 88% of therapy center directors report an uptick in severe psychiatric issues over the previous 5 years, including learning difficulties, self-injury accident, eating disorder, drug use, and also sexual harassment. So there is still an increasing need for treatment and specialized services. So next, in this study, our research question is refer for what is the relationship between social interaction and mental health among students, where our research objective is to investigate the relationship between the social interaction and mental health among students. Okay, next we go to the significance of the study. So actually this study will give a lot of significance, actually, especially for the students, that help them to more understand for their responsibility with during this era pandemic. So actually student will understand the change that occur to the people around the world will affect the mental health, especially among them, that will decrease the motivation, giving depression, a lot of pressure, and more stressful condition that we will have to face together. So actually this study will make the student more understand how important the social interaction between the lecturer and the student, because of our routines will change 100% during this pandemic, because this will have a lot of time to communicate with each other, make a discussion. Body language or body movement will be limited, and that's why the entire problem will affect the students' mental health.
What is mental health among students? According to World Health Organization, mental health often includes positive aspects and understanding the importance of interpersonal relationship in allowing students to prosper and successfully fulfill their social roles effectively. So it shows that students also can get mental health. Next is relationship between mental health or social relationship among students. The lack of social interaction during digital learning or online learning will lead them to loneliness, stress, and anxiety. So it shows that there is a relationship between mental health or social relationship among students. Next is relationship between IV and mental health, also social relationship among students. As we know, college life has changed radically as many colleges defer classroom instruction and turn to online teaching. Although social distance intervention can help delay the spread of illness and minimize public health system, they also can eventually exacerbate student social alienation and impact their psychological well-being and mental health. So it shows that there is a relationship between IV and mental health, also social relationship among students. Next, conceptual framework. A framework is often a model of how to make a logical sense of the relationship among the several factors that have been identified as important to the problem. And according to our theory, the relationship between social interaction and mental health among students, the framework that can be seen is social and mental health.
Now we proceed to the chapter 3, which is the first one is purpose of the study. In this part, we are using cause-effect relationship, or also can be called as causal relationship. This indicates that how one variable is affect to another variable. So we are using this type of investigation because we want to see how the social interaction will affect the student's mental health. So by using this type of investigation, we get to see how mental health of the student are being affected through the social interaction during this online learning. Next, we move to the research interference. Research interference can be defined as something that is connected with the workflow in the workplace that has the direct bearing of the research decision. So there are 3 types of research interference, which is minimal, moderate, and also excessive. So as for our group, we choose to have a minimal interference because this research is made mainly for HR student of UiTM Bandaraya Melaka. The respondent just need to answer the questionnaire of the surveys given or distributed by the researcher. So the result will be evaluating from the questionnaire given to the respondent. Next, we move to the unit analysis, which is we choose on the individual. This is because we are focusing on the social interaction and also the mental health of the student's university. So the target will be the student of the university itself. Next part is the time horizon. The time horizon chosen is cross-sectional study, or also can be said as single shot study. This study is referred to the data collected at one time basis in order to achieve the objective of the research. Okay, next we move to the study setting. So in this study setting, we choose to imply the non-contrive of study setting in our research. So non-contrive is based on the field experiment, whereas we distribute the questionnaire survey to all the respondents of human resources student in UiTM Bandaraya Melaka. So the student or the respondent need to answer the questionnaire survey through online Google form. So based on the online Google form, we will key in the data into the statistical package for social science, or we call as SPSS, in order to analyze the data. That is the use of the study settings. Okay, next we move to the sampling. In this part, we are using part 1 until part 6 of Human Resources student from UiTM Bandaraya Melaka, which is 549 students in total. So we are using the convenience type of sampling because it has fulfilled the criteria that are required in this type of sampling, such as accessibility, geographical proximity, and so on. So the instrument that we use is questionnaire survey. All the respondents need to answer the question in the questionnaire, and the result will be keyed in the statistical package of social science, or we call as SPSS, in order to analyze the data. So by doing this type of analyzing the data, we get to see which of the element will influencing the students the most. The questionnaire also are using Likert scale, which is there are 7 types of scale, and the students need to choose which one is influencing them the most. Okay, next we move to the chapter 4, which is begins with the frequency analysis. This chapter is discussing about the data analysis and the result. So as for the frequency analysis, we are discussing about the demographic profile of the respondent that listed 4 parts, which is the gender, age, part, and also the family residence. So we start with the first one, which is the gender. So about 22.6% of male and 77.4% of female has answered the questionnaire. So we can see that the female respondent has monopoly the questionnaire. This is because the UiTM Bandaraya Melaka has also been monopolied by the female student. Okay, the next part is for age. There are 3 categories are being split, which is 18 until 20 years old, 21 to 23 years old, and lastly 24 to 26 years old. So for 18 until 20 years old, the percentage who answered the questionnaire is 11.8%. For 21 to 23 years old of respondent is 80.6%, and the last one is 24 to 26 represent the 7.5%. So as we can see, the range of 21 to 23 years old of respondent are monopoly this part. Maybe this is because of most of the students are in this kind range of age. So the next part is the part section. As I have mentioned before, the part that we focusing is part 1 until part 6 of student. The part 1 is 14.0%, part 2 26.9%, part 3 19.4%, and part 4 9.7%, part 5 29.0%, and the last one is part 6 student, which is 1.1%. So we can see also that the part 5 student is monopoly this section. Maybe this is because of most of the part 5 student of UiTM Bandaraya Melaka also are doing the research, and roughly they are understand how the research is being done or how the research is being processed by the students of UiTM Bandaraya Melaka. So that is why we choose the or we are focusing on the part 5 student. So the last one is the demographic profile, also listed the family resident, which is there are 2 sections, rural area and also the city or town area. So as for rural area is 34.4%, and the town or city is 65.6%. So as we can see, this part also is being monopoly by the city or town, because the UiTM Bandaraya itself is in town area. So most of the students are coming from the town or city area compared to the rural area.
Okay, next is descriptive analysis. Based on this table, show that the descriptive statistic for each variable, which is for social interaction and mental health. So based on this table, the mean and standard deviation for each predicted variable, which is for social interaction, the mean is 5.6172 and standard deviation 0.52100. And for the mental health, the mean is 4.5475 with standard deviation 0.63683.
The highest mean is social interaction relationship with the mean 5.6172 with standard deviation 0.52100. Moreover, the lowest is mental health with the means 4.5475 with standard deviation 0.63683.
Next, we go to reliability statistic. Based on table 4.3 above, the Cronbach alpha for all variables is above 0.6, which indicates that all the variables are significant.
Okay, next we go to the person correlation analysis. So actually, the correlations coefficient of persons is a measure of the association power between the two variables. So based on our results, which is show the person correlation for our variable, which is independent variable, social interaction, and dependent variable, which is mental health. So according to the table, the correlation between the social interaction and student mental health is 0.333, which is it show that there is a weak uphill linear relationship between the social interaction and mental health. Okay, next we go to the regression analysis, which is based on the table regression analysis table model summary. R square shows the percentage the difference in the dependent variable explained by the change in the independent variable. So the R square, which is 11.1% or 0.111, implies that all independent variables which are social interaction, which is social network and social media usage, explain 11.1% of the variance in to the dependent variable, which mental health among students, and 88.9% of the variation in the dependent variable in this analysis is not explained by independent variables. Okay, next for ANOVA table, as we can see, the F-test value was 11.331, that indicate the value is more than 1. So since the value is greater than 1, this means that independent variable of social interactions are able to measure the dependent variable, which is mental health. So the p-value, our p-value is 0.001, which is much less than 0.05. So next, we are looking at the coefficient table, which is the studies found that the result of significant and beta in standardized coefficient. So in the column of utility, the p-value must be less than 0.05, which is 0.001. So therefore, since the social interaction significant value are below than 0.05, which is 0.01, the study move on to the beta standardized coefficient. So thus, based on the result, the beta and the t-value was 0.333, where the t-value is 3.336. So as social interaction increased by 1 standard deviation, mental health increased by 0.333 of a standard deviation. So thus indicate that there is significant correlate between the social interaction and mental health among students.
Next is conclusion. In the conclusion, these studies provide a significant contribution to the knowledge of social interactions during online learnings, especially among students, and there is a growing consensus about their student mental health. This study has described the key component in social network and social media usage and their influence on their mental health. So next, this study found out the research objective is supported and research answer was answered by the accordingly by the respondent. Based on the exercise, show that the social network and social media usage play as important thing. The result findings of the relationship between social interaction and mental health indicate that it is significant, and this show that there is relationship between social interaction and mental health among students. Okay, next is discussion of this research. So the purpose of this study is to clarify the relationship between social interaction and mental health that affect among students. Besides, the research objective is to investigate the relationship and between social interactions and mental health among students. Moreover, the objective of the survey was to analyze the relationship between social interaction and mental health among students in human resource courses in UiTM Bandar Raya Melaka. The study questions is to determine if there is any relationship between social interaction and mental health among student HR. And next, the regression analysis was conducted in this research to assess if there is relationship between social interaction and mental health between students. And lastly, the result finding of the relationship between social interaction and mental health indicate and show that it is significant as the p-value 0.001. This show that there are relationship between social interaction and mental health among students. Okay, next is limitation of the study. First limitation is only few predictor will be examined and identified within the studies, and others predictor will excluded in the framework model. So second limitation, we use on internet survey method to contribute our questionnaire to our respondents. So the limitation and weakness of internet survey method is related to response rate, which is when the respondent feel that our questionnaire is unclear, boring and too complex to them, it influences them to do not complete or answer our online survey. So consequently, the response rates will be decreased. Third limitation is the lack of academia research based on social media network and social media usage. In addition, the data of research by the previous researcher that we obtained is mostly outdated research. So lastly, the limitation is limited of criteria in the questionnaire. When the criteria of questionnaire are limited, it will decrease the reliability, validity and cleanness of the questionnaire. Is recommendation of this research. First recommendation is the university must improve its online learning infrastructure in order to make it easier for students to have a strong social interactions between student and lecturer in the e-learning system. For example, helping students to engage the class session often is one thing that will fix the lack of social interaction and improve their mental health. For example, break the big classes into the smaller unit. The smaller breakout classes, the student must take part or participate the icebreaker exercise. So the breakout session also offer the student opportunity to express their thought, experience and expertise. So second recommendation is the researcher should do comparative studies over the long time period of time by going more. This is to make sure they have able to get faster and accurate result, and the outcome can be inconsistent and may be more reliable if observed.